Hello and welcome to a look at the Rocky Horror Show for the Commodore 64, a game that was released by CRL. Now, before we start covering the game itself, I was familiar with the Rocky Horror Show as a phrase, at least, but couldn't remember from where. So I had to do a bit of digging in order to find out what it was, and it turns out that the Rocky Horror Show was a stage play that was made into a movie and then made into a computer game. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with neither the stage show nor the movie, so from a background point of view, I am completely blank, except for what the game says you should be doing and why you are doing it. Two middle American youngsters, Brad and Janet, are having issues with their car, and they seek help in a nearby house who just happens to be owned by the evil Dr. Frank N. Furter. Yes, I'm not kidding you. And he immediately turns one of them to stone, and the one he turns to stone depends on who you decide to play at the start of the game, because you can choose to play as Brad or Janet, and it will be the other person who is mimicking a statue. Unfortunately for Brad or Janet, this is not Dungeons and Dragons, so you can't just cast stone to flesh and be done with it. No, that would be far too easy. So, whoever you are in charge of will have to go around and look for pieces of the Medusa, a machine that can turn stoned people back to normal flesh and blood again. But of course, because Dr. Frankenfurter is such an evil, he has split it into several pieces, and apparently is having an awful lot of fun watching you run around willy-nilly trying to pick up the pieces and reassemble the machine. In order to reassemble the machine, you have to pick up parts of it, and certain pieces are hidden behind locked doors, and in order to unlock those doors, obviously you have to find a key. You can carry one key and one piece of the machine at the same time, and once you have one of either, you have to either spend the key to unlock a door, or you have to go and find the machine frame and put the piece in order to be able to pick up the next piece, which is something that is incredibly annoying, to say the least. Of course, Frankenfurter is not the only one in the mansion. He has his butler, who's rather depressive and tries to kill you. He has various different individuals, one of them a failed experiment, one of them a groupie who likes to steal your clothes off you, and others such individuals. And while most of them are harmless, they can waste your time by talking nonsense once you get close to them, and there are two of them that will outright kill you on contact. The idea of the groupie stealing your clothes can perhaps be considered amusing or funny to a certain point, but unfortunately both Brad and Janet are very shy individuals, and they will do everything and anything to hide their modesty, of course keeping their hands occupied so they cannot interact with any object of any kind while they are undressed. So you have to spend your valuable time trying to locate your clothing, which will be dumped in a random room, in order to reacquire said clothing so you can actually start picking up keys and machine pieces yet again. Sometimes that can happen back to back, meaning that you spend a third to two-thirds of the game just trying to pick up your clothing. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? Anyway, let's do some technical stuff. From a graphical point of view, the backgrounds are one-colored, but gives you an idea of being in a mansion, castle kind of thing. Things don't look bad, but the fact that every screen have one color beyond black sort of makes it a bit bland, to say the least. The characters, they are distinct, and that's probably the most positive thing I can say about them, because they look a bit rustic, I think is a gentle phrase. But whatever movement animation there may be is incredibly basic, and for some reason when certain objects are moving on some of the screens, the game is slows to an absolute crawl, which is not particularly impressive. There are a few sounds that you could call sound effects if you're being generous, but they are so sparse it's not even worth talking about. That leads us, of course, to the music, which is a rendition of a Time Warp, I think this song is called. And while it isn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, because it's running in a constant loop, even if you truly like that song a lot and like the rendition of it, it will get old after a while. Controls left, right, up, down will do left, right, up, down-ish things, as you might expect, and the fire button will be used to pick up items and interact with whatever you need to interact with. Keys goes into keyholes, which is hardly surprising, but your position in order to activate the key for a locked door can be incredibly obnoxious, and generally getting in and out of doorways can seem unnecessarily challenging. Obviously, because I have no experience with the stage show or the film, I have no idea of how close or far away from the set media this game is, so I can't really comment on that. But what I can comment on is the fact that you have one life. Once you die, it's game over, you have to start all over again. And for each game, the location of the machine pieces are randomized, and it can become more or less challenging / annoying depending on how often the movie decides to steal your clothes and how much time you have to spend reacquiring your clothes. If you should have the patience and or luck to actually be able to beat this game, you are going to find that once you have beaten it, there's nothing more to see. If you play it again, you are going to go through the same randomness, tanky graphicness, and annoyingness that the experience offered a first time around. On that note, thanks for watching, take care, see you next time, bye bye.